That's Fred, the main antagonist of our newest game we're developing called Fred's Bits and Parts. If you haven't seen, Fred's Bits and Parts is a game we made several months ago for the Bracky's 2025.1 Game Jam that's basically a mix of the Stanley Parable and Poppy Playtime. You work for Fred as a new hire who instructs you to do various tasks that you can either listen to or ignore depending on how you want to play the game, going down different paths based on your choices. Back when we first made the Game Jam version, we only had 7 days, so some things ended up worse than others, but we made it through and it seemed like people liked it. I had so much fun watching through some of the Let's Plays that came out on the game, talking and chat with streamers about it, and just seeing people really excited about it. So we've decided to develop it into a full game, which make sure you stay until the end or just skip to the end to see how you can actually be a part of the development and even get a chance to be in the game. But during the development of this game, we've ran into a few different challenges. Namely,
this is a 3D game with not one, not two, but 3 whole dimensions. Now if we look back here at our previous games, we got Throwbro, we got Little Shell's Adventure, and even Color War, all 2D games. Flat minds, living in flat worlds with flat dreams. So before starting on this project, we both wanted to brush up on our 3D modeling. And by brush up on our 3D modeling, I mean learning the whole thing from scratch in 30 freaking days. I'm talking models, materials, edge loops, rigging, character design, animation, and exporting game assets. Yeah. Some people take years, some a handful of months, but me? Yeah, I didn't. Wait, this guy did it in a week? Arg. Well, over the course of those 30 days, I made a lot of neat things. I started with the classics. You got your donuts, your trees, and whales. You know, the standards. Then I moved on to making a whole rock band and animating them. But we're not here to talk about weird rock dudes and whales. We're here to talk about Freds. I used these skills to make some cool stuff for the game. We got desk lamps, normal desks, beds, and rubber ducks? Whoa! That's a mystery tool that will help us later.
So, something that plagued me from the start of development on the original version was the player controller. You see, I'm an idiot, and because of that, I make bad decisions. Because of the lack of time we had for the development of the original, we used a fully built-out player controller asset that honestly came with more issues than it fixed. I was constantly fighting for performance and to just get this thing to work, so one of the first things I did leading this new project was completely scrap it and start over. I made my own custom controller that, while it's missing some of the features of the previous one, runs so stupidly better that it doesn't even matter. It also lets us add our own custom features in a way that doesn't break the whole rest of the game. Like, now you can crouch and you can crouch, but, like, smaller. In the previous version, I didn't have time or the ability to implement this due to the character controller, so you would literally just walk through a vent while entirely standing up, but now you can just crouch and move through it without issue. So, with those features in place, I'd like to introduce the way that you, yes you, the person watching this with a working computer that's powerful enough to play video games, can help us develop and even become a part of the game. To help with the new player controller, we made a short demo with all of the features the player can use and released it on the Discord. Anyone who finds a game-breaking bug or is able to break out of the map, record, and show it to us on the Discord will get added to the Fred's Bits and Parts Employee of the Month board. Only applicable for the first person who finds each issue. We'll add a small image and your preferred name to a plaque to be immortalized in the Hall of Freds.
And honestly, who wouldn't want to be an Employee of the Month at Fred's Bits and Parts, where you have access to great benefits and cheery management and toxic gases? This is a dynamic, fast-growing company that offers competitive pay. Truly a wonderful place to be. That's why I'm excited to let you know that you've been hired. Yay! Now before we fill out your paperwork, your background check will need to clear. Wait, you're not an epic plasma gamer? Oh, this is bad. What's an epic plasma gamer, you ask? Only the coolest group you can sign your life away to. All you gotta do is hit that subscribe button and join the Discord, and your paperwork will go right through.
The next thing we went to work on was the visuals of the game. Now, I'll be pretty brief and give you a slime race to look at while I go over this, but things changed pretty drastically from the original version of the game to this one. For one, we moved to the HD render pipeline in Unity, which makes making the game look good considerably easier. This was a big decision because I'm always someone that really values performance in games, as well as using as little as I can to get the result that I want. But I found that the things I was trying to accomplish with the graphics turned out to be a little too much for the little universal render pipeline. I could go into more detail about it, but the bottom line is I took steps to make it look better, and in my opinion, it looks better.
Mima once said, the only thing better than games without cool music is games with cool music. And I'd say she was right. I've had a lot of fun working on soundtracks for our previous games, but I had a bit of an advantage writing those soundtracks. They were all the kind of games that I play frequently, so it was a pretty natural composition process. This game is unlike anything I've done before, and frankly anything I've played before. It's a horror game, but also kind of a comedy, and at the same time a simulator type of game. The soundtrack felt like it needed to be eerie and techie to me, but also more subtle in those elements than other games in the genre are. In preparation for this demo, I made a song to test our systems. You can hear the different themes of the game through the music. I have a steady beat to simulate the feeling of a routine workday, but the song is in a minor key to give it that eerie vibe. Along with that, it has those synths in the background which make me feel like Fred is always watching. But that's not all I did. I've always wanted to make games with a dynamic audio system, and this game seemed like the perfect candidate. A dynamic soundtrack is when a game's music adapts to match the surroundings. A really good example is the Pikmin series. It's usually pretty calm, but when an enemy is near, some scary xylophone can be heard. And if you've collected all the treasures, the Pikmin start to sing along with the soundtrack. So I made different versions of the same song. Once you get to a certain point in the demo, the melody comes in on guitar in a super smooth way. You can hear the music get muffled when you go through a vent. This made the gameplay feel much more immersive to me. If you're interested in hearing this or any of our other soundtracks, I recommend checking out plasmastudios.dev, our website, where you can listen to all our music back to back.
So, with all that out of the way, I do want to say sincerely thank you to everyone who played the original version of Fred's, and I hope anyone who was excited about that will be excited about this. Again, if you'd like to help with development, feel free to join the Discord and try out that demo, and if you're able to break it, you might get to be in the game. Thanks for watching.